Still waiting. Hello from ENC.
Hello everyone, it's Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I need to restore that. Never mind.
I'm going to have to take this back over. I can see it already.
Okay, I'm going to move it where we can read it. If it comes up, we're a little on the slow side tonight. Now I need this.
There you go.
And this can go. We don't have a chat yet, y'all.
Yeah, we can't see the chat.
We are.
We are not doing good. We've had a lot of rain all day today.
All right, chat.
And it ain't been good here, I'm going to tell you. Let me see if I can't straighten this up a little bit. I'm a little OCD here.
All right, got a lot of people popping in from all over the place. Danny saw someone from Fruitland Park.
Fruitland Park, Mississippi. Suzanne Hudson. I don't know if I know you or not, but I do know a lot of people in Fruitland Park.
That's what, 15, 20 minutes
about
away.
15 minutes from us, yeah.
I see lots of people.
Wow,
lots
from all over the whole big United States of amnesia.
Amnesia.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people got amnesia.
Yes, rain. It's done nothing but rain here all day.
And most of yesterday.
And it looks like it might be even tomorrow. Bogachita, Mississippi.
I've been there once.
Yeah.
Went to a water park in Bogachita.
Yeah.
Camped for a while.
There's a lot of bogus stuff in Mississippi. You got Bogahoma, Bogachita. What's the one over here by McNeil?
I don't even know where McNeil is. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm kind of
illiterate. They said it's cloudy up in Corinth, but it's dry. It ain't been dry down here. Of course, that's thanks to the Omega High that is over the central part of the United States.
All right, so what have we done? Oh, I haven't been home too long, about an hour.
No, Wanda's been home about an hour. She had to go to a funeral today. A real good friend of ours, their 35-year-old daughter just passed out and died. I mean,
her heart
went out on her.
And so I've been at the church since lunchtime, I think, and so we want to keep Terry and Leslie in our prayers tonight. And Danny sat here and scoped out things. And
I had lots
had
to do.
A research day.
I had a research day today. When it's raining like this, I did go to Pecan Grove first thing this morning in the rain, and I took care of the cows and checked on the garden and different things over there. And turn around, come back home. Let's see. I did work in the high tunnels a little bit this morning.
I did. I took and I was going to put a video up on CRAZY DAZES, and I hadn't had time today, but I worked a little bit this morning. The tomatoes that Danny showed in the video this morning, or last night. I think I put it up last night. The high tunnel update.
Yeah.
My tomatoes, I downed all of. I mean, I didn't take them down, but I took all the bad leaves out, and I stripped it down to just the good ones that were producing. And they're looking really nice. So
okay, H. Jones, we will keep you in our prayers if you're going for baptism in the morning.
Yes.
All right. But then I finished pulling up all the onions in the high tunnel in mine, and I actually went through the onions we've been laying out drying. We just haven't had any dry weather. It's just been humid, rainy and everything, and the onions have just been having a hard time drying, and the ones that was drying, then we put them in the cooler today. Danny, where's the best place to get a radiator for a 63 Ford 2000 industrial tractor? Well, you might want to try Birch Tractor Company or Steiner's Tractor Company.
Birch
Thunder Chicken.
B-U-R-C-H.
Yeah, B-U-R-C-H, right. And then Steiner Tractor Company.
Online.
That's the two best places I've been finding to get parts for my tractors.
They usually carry a good supply, or if they don't, they may know somebody that does.
Jennifer Ann said they had almost 20 people baptized last Sunday.
Wow, that is amazing.
That's when you call about you had the Spirit moving there.
Yeah.
Yes. Danny, I just started building a smokehouse exactly like the one you built. Thanks for the idea. Enjoy watching your videos. You are more than welcome, Robert.
And feel free to make any adjustments and
Yes.
send us pictures.
And send us pictures after you make the adjustments to it or whatever you do. I mean, we've probably got dozens of people who have actually done videos on their smokehouses.
Or sent pictures.
The changes they've made.
And they've done some awesome things.
Yeah, it makes mine look like it ain't that good anymore. But
well, yours is epic until you see some of theirs. And
yeah, I know.
Epicer.
Theirs is more epic.
More epic.
Yeah.
Some of them are really, they take it to the next level. Can you tell us again where we can order those copper things?
Oh, yeah, I saw that on here a while ago. Hills Mill Homestead.
It's actually hillsmill.com.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the site.
The site,
okay.
HILLSMILL.
Read what you sow says their electroculture is working.
We got a lot of people that's sending us stuff that have been doing it, some since last year, and some that have just started in the last month.
Yep.
And they see a difference. Everybody's doing like one without and one with, and just to see, what's going on with it, and is it making a difference? And I know the strawberries, it has made a huge difference because I wasn't getting every strawberry I'd pick up. I'd had to cut half of it off.
Yeah.
And the last week, I've had it in there a little over a week, but the last week I'm getting strawberries that are not slug bitten. So,
Jackie, it depends on how warm the soil is as to how long it takes you to get sweet potato slips. If you've got real warm soil, it can be 2 weeks. If your soil is still kind of cool, it can take a month or more.
Is there going to be any company next weekend for Mother's Day? Well, my daughter called this week, and she may come next weekend. She was going to come tonight, but then some things changed, and so she said next weekend maybe. Not sure. Probably the other daughter too. Probably my son.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Danny, will the copper wires work on flowers? Yeah, any plants. I mean, guys, this is not rocket science. This is just common sense. It's just the magnetic currents in the earth. I mean, there's nothing magic about it. I mean, it just works.
There's a lot of things that work. And somebody said fish. Fish will work.
Yeah.
The deal is here, we have coons and possums, and you put anything under the soil. We just used one of the organic fertilizers out in the front here one year, and Danny went through and put it down. And
it was bone meal. I went down and I put bone meal out ahead of time. And
then put his seed in, and he come back and he said something is digging up and when he went to look, and it wasn't the seed they were after. They smelled the bone meal.
They was digging
up. They were digging it up. So you got to be careful when you use things like that. They work. There's a lot of things, and the Jadam, Jadam, Jadam method shows a lot of things that work really. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot of money, and you don't have to have a lot of fertilizer when you do some of these things.
Right.
It makes your fertilizer go further. Let's say that. A lot of people kind of got on to Danny about him saying, well, how do we know you didn't fertilize them all the night before?
There was people came on and said all kinds of things. How do we know you didn't just pick out the biggest plants and do this kind of stuff and all? I mean, guys.
We fertilize everything the same. Like I went over to Pecan Grove 2 days ago, I think, and I fertilized everything. All plants, no matter if they had electroculture, didn't have it, whatever. I just fertilized them all. And when I come here to my high tunnel, I fertilize everything in the high tunnel the same. Yeah. I'm not pouring extra fertilizer to the cucumbers and not fertilizing the tomatoes or whatever. Right. I mean, I want my food to grow. I ain't gonna play with it.
Yeah, you can actually use different gauge wires. It doesn't have to be 12 gauge. It's just that 12 gauge is what we found works really best for us. I mean, you can try the others, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably get some results from them. But I think it'll still work. Should I wind the copper wire clockwise or counterclockwise as it goes from the bottom to the top? You need to wire it clockwise. It don't matter how you turn it. If you wire it clockwise, it'll be clockwise. Whether you flip it upside down, upside right, or whatever. In the northern hemisphere, you need to be clockwise. The southern hemisphere, you need to be counterclockwise.
Yeah. You know, you've got to learn to do what works for you, because if bone meal works, but some animals digging it all up, and you can't keep your plants because every time you plant something, some animal's digging it up, then you've wasted your time and your money and everything else.
Yeah.
One reason we're putting up some of the fencing over at Pecan Grove is we don't know the place. We don't know how many animals might or might not attack anything over there. So we put up the fencing. Next year we may not need it. Next year we may have to double it and triple it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we don't want something eating our stuff. So we're using every available thing, like the bone sauce from Permapasture Farms. And I've got the, what is that called? The cloth? The white stuff. Row cover. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some
I didn't know where he was going. I mean, it's like
white stuff on it that I've got tied. A lot of people want to know what that is. It's simply older row cover that I've taken and cut in pieces and tied it like on there and just put some bone sauce on it so that when it moves in the wind, the scent of the bone sauce goes out. All kinds of little tricks that we're learning over the last 3 years. We're learning to do a lot of stuff to keep deer out of stuff.
yeah, it's you know, there's lots of naysayers out there, you know, but I've got a video. I was going to make it today, but I couldn't find the camera while Wanda was at the funeral, and I was going to make a video. I was in the right frame of mind until I couldn't find the camera, and then I got in the wrong frame of mind, and I said I better not make this video because it won't come out right because I wasn't in the right frame of mind.
I had put it on over here on this side of the room on a table. And
yeah.
He looked everywhere but on that side of the room.
But it was behind the door actually
Yeah.
over here. I didn't even I never thought about that, but
his mind don't go where mine does.
no,
sometimes.
definitely not.
Well, usually I'm here and he'll say, "Where's the camera?" And I will pick it up and hand it to him. But I wasn't here and he had to hunt it for himself. Shows you he's got to learn a lot.
How do you keep termites from eating your plants? Don't have any wood products around them. We got rid of all the
wood chips.
We got rid of all the wood chips. We got rid of everything around ours and cleaned it down to the bare dirt.
We tried the wood chips and the Back to Eden for about 2 years.
Insects and termites and ants eat up everything we had.
We had some good luck with some plants. Now, we did grow stuff. Don't say we didn't do anything, but
Right.
we did. We've got videos. But it was more trouble than it was worth, and the weeds would come up through it. You have to end up mulching and mulching and mulching. We have a friend in Florida that has it, and he has his mulch so heavy that weeds don't come up anymore. But if you don't have enough money to buy a whole lot of mulch, if you don't have trees to grind up, then you're going to be spending more money in mulch than you are in food that you would buy at a grocery store, I imagine, huh? So you got to have the deep mulch for it to work.
I'm not so. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that the copper pennies won't work in the soil, but it's all about the antenna. It's not about having copper in the soil so much as it is having the antenna up in the air, picking up the currents and the frequencies and transporting them back into the soil. Now the pennies do help in the soil. They keep slugs away. They put copper back in the soil. I mean, most people die from heart attacks because of a lack of copper in their body. So copper is a good thing. You know, it's very conductive.
They said they don't have any wood chips. The termites came into the fields during the drought. Wow.
Well, there was something there they had to feed on because termites don't come for nothing.
They like some kind of old wood. Yeah.
Get rid of it. It may be too moist because termites like to stay where it's damp. They can't stay where it's dry at.
All right. Carrie says her area is full of aphids. They're just everywhere. What do you do to get rid of them?
I'm not sure. Prep for Homestead Attorney says, do you think copper could bind up certain nutrients in the soil causing trouble for plants? I don't really believe that, Donnie. I don't believe that copper would because copper is so vital to the nutritional part of plants. It's used to get rid of funguses on plants. I mean, If you use copper sulfate to spray plants with, it's all to kill funguses and stuff like that. I don't think it would bind up anything in the soil. Now, what will bind up stuff in the soil is aluminum. Aluminum is really bad about binding up phosphorus so that the plants can't take up phosphorus from the soil.
So be careful using any aluminum products around your plants. How do you recommend storing fertilizer?
Fertilizer.
Fertilizer, I'm sorry.
It depends on what kind of fertilizer you're talking about. If you're talking about the granulated type, then you need a good, cool, dry, dark place. If you got a liquid type, then you need it where it's not hot. It still needs to be kind of a cooler place.
If you got liquid, just saying, it will explode.
It will explode in the sun if it's certain ones, because Miss Wanda had it happen and it went everywhere.
It was in my room out here, and the heat from the freezers and stuff heated the room enough that fertilizer, I guess.
It was fish emulsions, what it was.
Yeah, and stink.
Oh, it stunk so bad.
Go into a room that's full of fish.
Let's see here. Joff Outdoors says, will grubs eat my tomato plant roots? Yes, grubs will eat the roots of your plants. That's one reason you want to make sure you don't have any grubs in the soil. And if you talk about getting rid of aphids a while ago, the best thing that I have found to get rid of aphids is just a mild dishwasher soap. Something like Ivory or something like that.
It's really, we have a tough time with them.
Spray it up under the bottom of the leaves, and it smothers them. Basically, their bodies, it smothers them. But now it's not a guaranteed thing. To get rid of all of them at one time. It's a daily routine you've got to do, and you can't keep putting on your plants too much, or you'll kill your plants.
Exactly, because you don't want a whole lot of soap on your plants. Very, very little. And once the aphids hit anything here, we know within a week we've pretty much taken the plants out. We can't leave them stuff once it starts.
Donnie said the veins on some of our squash plants are yellow, trying to figure out why. It could be a couple of things, Donnie. It could be a lack of nitrogen causing them to be yellow. But my guess is probably going to be a magnesium. You probably need some Epsom salt put in the soil in order to take care of that. Because, magnesium deficiency is one of the big, big issues that most people overlook whenever they're gardening.
Yeah. How do you get rid of grubs?
Getting rid of grubs is kind of one of the things. There's a thing called milky spore out there. It's a granulated product you put in the soil, and it actually grows over time, and it helps get rid of soft-bodied grubs and worms and stuff like that out of the soil.
Yeah, some people say you just wash the soap off after the next day or something.
Bob says, how many volts does the electroclimate antenna from Mickey create? It's not about creating volts. That's the thing we got to get through people's heads. This is not about creating volts and electricity and all this kind of stuff. This is about electromagnetic currents coming through the air. They're already in the air everywhere, and they're being depleted in the soil. It's about taking this atmospheric electromagnetic currency and putting it back into the soil.
I was going to show a coil, but I don't have one in here. I put it in
we put them all in the high tunnels because we was like, man, them things was working so good.
Yeah, Danny's made some himself, and throughout the years he's used different ways that are similar. It's all called electroculture, using different cattle panels and wire cages.
Yeah.
You just have to watch which ones you get, and they don't conduct as well as copper, but they do
don't.
Conduct.
And one thing, let me say, what somebody's asking about the coils. It doesn't matter if you start from the bottom going clockwise or if you start from the top. Whichever way you turn it, it's still going to be clockwise. One thing that we have to realize is, and people don't talk about this, Big Ag loads up the chemicals that's used in fields with about 5 different types of iron.
Thank you, Central Texas.
Iron literally kills everything in the soil. And they keep loading up all these chemicals with iron, and it depletes everything in the soil. So, I mean, that's why we're trying to take copper and put it back into the soil. Now, yes, using cages and rods and stuff like this is iron in the soil, but we're trying to use the copper in with it and, you know, to help create this current to go back into the soil to override some of that.
All right. King family from Florida. Thanks. So the Florida Boys Ventures is a King family from Florida.
Oh, will T-post and fence work like copper wire? No. Amanda, it will not work. You need to have copper.
Why do you point the copper north or south?
Currents flow from the North Pole to the South Pole. And what you want is to put your copper coil on the south side of the plant so that the current has to travel over the plant to the copper to go down into the soil. This is ancient technology. This is not anything new, and it works out really, really good. Now you can put it around your plant in other areas, you just won't get the benefits. And a lot of people say, well, I've used it and I don't have that kind of results. Well, you got to know all the details to make it work like it's supposed to work.
Why do you shoot the turtles in your ponds? I have them in my pond and was wondering if I needed to eliminate them.
Well, if you have turtles, they will eat your fish. And when I have to buy and pay for fish to put in my pond, the last thing I want is turtles eating my fish. And plus, if you go to feed or anything like that, the turtles eat your feed. They're not a healthy thing for a pond.
Hills Mill said his design was influenced by Nikola Tesla. The biflare coil?
Bifilar.
Something like that.
Bifilar. B-I-F-I-L-A-R. A bifilar coil.
Yes. All right. Danny, can I use aluminum poles to wrap in copper wire?
No, aluminum is highly, is that Natalia?
That was Jan.
Oh, Jan. Oh, Jan, no, because aluminum is highly toxic to the soil. Do not use aluminum in your soil. It binds up the phosphorus in the soil where your plants cannot take it up.
Should the plants be planted north to south?
Yes. Now, that's one thing we don't
That's
ever really
Natasha.
talk. No, Natalie.
Natalie.
Was it Natalie?
Nat. I don't know how
Yeah.
you say her name.
Anyway,
Natalia. Yes, how you said it, Natalia.
Anyway, yes, one thing that we haven't really talked about is that plants really do better if you make your rows from north to south. That's something we don't ever really discuss. I mean, my high tunnels are facing northeast to southwest, and I think that's one reason we get a lot of good results out of our high tunnels also.
All right. Did you stock your ponds with fathead minnows before you put your predator fish in?
No, we have so many frogs and tadpoles and pollywogs and everything else on our place around here, so they have plenty to eat. Now, the back pond back here, when we first built it, we did put in the tuffy minnows, the orange ones, for the bass to feed on until the brim got big enough.
And we put in, how many did we put in that first time?
First time we put 400.
And we only had, I think it was 20 bass, and 400 were gone in a couple of days.
Yeah.
I think they ate quite a few because we could see them swimming everywhere the first day, and the bass were just eating like crazy. And the second day, we found no minnows. 400 don't go nowhere.
400 don't go very far when you got hybrid bass. Yeah.
No, they loved them, and I told them, I said, we can't do this every day, so they got a treat a couple of times. That was it.
Camille says, do y'all's children and grandchildren garden? No. Our children and grandchildren do not garden. It saddens us. Now, one of Wanda's used to do some gardening.
But she's building onto a house right now, so this is the first year she hadn't had a garden at all.
Yeah.
My youngest, her dad gardens, and she helps him some, but she doesn't actually do more than help pick sometimes and can or whatever. She doesn't put it in jars. She puts hers in the freezer.
Yeah.
So they are exposed, and my youngest son, I guess, gets some from his dad too. So, but as far as gardening, no, they don't garden.
Do you put crawfish in your pond? No, crawfish, William, will destroy the dam of a pond. We do have them around our pond, but
it wasn't our choosing.
It wasn't by our choosing. In the South, crawfish just live everywhere where it's damp at, and they will destroy a pond dam. I mean, do not ever put them in a pond.
Yeah. Hey, all from Long Island. Thanks to you, my greenhouse is facing the same direction. Good, Laura.
Good deal. Let's see.
Camille says, I love y'all's videos. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, Camille.
Hutch says, I stocked my pond with crappie. Hutch, you must have a big, big pond, because and it must be deep, because if it ain't big and it ain't deep, the crappie will overtake it in a year or two, and you'll just end up with little old bitty fish that's pop-eyed because they don't have room to, to grow. Because crappies are very, very heavy feeders, and they multiply like crazy.
How are the fruit trees looking? All the older ones look good.
The older ones are doing good. The ones that the deer all laid off over at Pecan Grove are struggling coming back out.
We put new ones out, and they were leafed out. Some of them had bloomed. They were beautiful, and for about nearly 2 months, looked awesome. And Danny went out there one day, and he's like, "Something's wrong with these. What's happening?
I thought they were died."
He said, "Man, all our trees are dying, like all of them, all at one time." And he went out there and got to looking, and they'd be clipped off all over. Everywhere there was a leaf of any kind, they eat them. So now we've got some protection there, and we've run some string and different stuff. And we got to start over. But all the trees around here are looking good. Some of them bloomed early, and the cold got them, so we don't have fruit on some. All the citrus, some of those have... the blooms were it was blooming when it was cold, when that cold spell came. So some of them are going to be having fruit and some won't. But they all look good, and it smells good because some's fruit. Fruit, and they're blooming now.
Homestead Crazy said, we have minnows, crappie, bass, catfish in our ponds. Well, you've got a bad combination of fish there, Homestead Crazy, because anytime you have catfish, you should only have brim. You should never have bass and catfish in the same pond, because the bass will eat every one of the little catfish up before they ever get big enough to even do anything. So
bass are very heavy feeders.
Very heavy feeders. Bass and brim go together. Catfish and brim go together. Not all of them.
Let's see.
Guys, you can... Mr. Mickey's answering your question about having the metal with the copper touching it there. I don't think I need to go into it. He's answering that question.
Yeah, if y'all read the comments.
Just read the comments when it's going down.
Hills Mill Homestead. Do the coils work in grow bags?
Yes. They will work in anything. Containers, grow bags, the ground.
And one thing we forgot when we did the video on my high tunnel is where I have the cucumbers. That bed is ground, right?
Yes.
It is actually the ground. We had a hillside, and we just made the bed and chopped it off the hillside. So where the cucumbers is actually ground level. It's not actually a raised bed right there. The other side is a raised bed that we put dirt in. So we forgot to mention that in that video. Lily pads have taken over our pond. What's the best way to remove them other than herbicides?
Well, Rick, we found out our pond we had rebuilt had tons of lily pads in it, and I went and talked to the fish hatchery, and they told me that as soon as it filled back up with water, to go ahead and put the sterilized carp back in it, and make sure I have plenty of them in it, and they could keep up with them as they try to reemerge. But if I wait and let them get going too long, it will do no good. I'll have to come and take we would have to use the herbicide 2,4-D which is made from chrysanthemum. I think it's chrysanthemum flowers it's made from, to spray the tops of them with to kill them. And if we let them get too far out of hand, then we would have to use the non-toxic. Now, I don't know where this came from, but they told me the non-toxic to fish Roundup. So
yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is,
but
so far,
do it.
Our carp so far are eating off all of our lily pads, and we keep finding them floating up to the edges of the bank. where they're eating them off underwater. So they're doing a really good job keeping up with them, and hopefully they'll do it long enough till the root system will eventually die from not having any tops on it.
All right. Do you have any Mexican bass in your pond?
No, we don't have any Mexican bass in our pond.
How are the roses doing? The roses have been doing fantastic. They've actually bloomed. I took pictures of them. I think I showed them in a video maybe, I don't know, last month or something. Lots of times I just kind of go by and take pictures of them and throw them in a video. I think some of them are fixing to bloom again. I need to get over there and trim them. That's one thing I got to do. I was cold a while ago and I'm burning up now.
I know, it's a
it's
never
an on
ending.
and off thing, ain't it?
How long do you cut your copper wire, Lori says? It depends on what you're doing with it. I have some that's 6 feet tall. I have some that's 16 inches long. It just depends. The taller the better, I'll tell you that. If you can find you some copper ground rods, like they put down around the meter bases of houses and stuff, like 6 feet long, that's actually one of your better deals.
2,4-D, I think if somebody's saying something about numbers, he was talking about 2,4-D is the,
Yeah.
it's a herbicide.
Yeah, it's a herbicide, yeah.
Yeah, that is probably safer than some of the others.
Somebody wants to know, how do you manage roly-polies? Actually, we don't have a big issue with roly-polies. Chickens are one of the best things to get rid of roly-polies, but you can use copper. We'll get rid of roly-polies. I have heard that beer in little lids will get rid of them. I can't swear by that because we don't have them here. I'm just telling you what I've heard other people say.
All right, Janice is saying they planted some fruit trees that were about 4 to 5 feet tall this past fall. Some of them had new limbs come up from the base and have already grown about 2 feet. Should I prune them now or wait?
Prune them now, Janice. Get rid of them now because they'll suck your tree to death.
The bottom leaves of my corn is yellow. What do they need?
What do they need? It sounds like you're deficient in nitrogen. When your leaves on your corn start turning yellow, you're either too dry or lack of nitrogen. And corn is very, 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 when I tell you, very heavy nitrogen feeder, and blood meal won't do it because it takes too long for it to break down. You're going to have something like calcium nitrate or ammonium sulfate or something like that in order to make it happen. Danny, what are your thoughts on permethrin? It's an organic product. I mean, I don't use it, but if someone, doesn't mind using chemicals, I mean, it's the safer of the chemicals, I will say. Did we get anything in the mail this week?
Not that I know of, but I was going to show. Somebody was asking. Let me see if I can get this to work now. Come on. When I want it to flip, it won't flip. Okay. The one on the, let me see if I can get it where y'all can see. The one on the far right and the one on the far left are two new babies.
Yeah.
The red one on the, I guess it's on, I don't know if it's on y'all's far right or
left. The one with the
left.
halter on her face is Hadessa.
And the black one on the other end is Shushan.
Yeah, Shushan.
Shushan.
Yeah.
So we got two new babies this week. They're both heifers. They're A2 milk.
Yeah.
And they are a year old, a little over a year old actually. And they are the mini Dexters. Now we have Dexters, which is a mini cow, but they also make a mini Dexter, so they will never get any bigger than they are.
Right. Will 2020 work for corn? Yes. My new Tennessee home, yes, 2020 will work for corn.
Okay, the other thing we did this week.
Do we fertilize our sweet potato plants slips once we plant them? Yes, we fertilize them when we plant them, and then we fertilize them about a month later.
All right, this is the other thing we did, if I can get the picture, because I didn't get any pictures moved over. I didn't have time to do all that. But
oh, yeah, there you go. Keep it still. There's one of 3 loads we got. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. That's one of 3 loads we got 2 days ago.
Clover hay.
Yes, all red clover hay.
And then this is the other thing we did. Well, actually, Danny built the pier last week.
Yes.
And I stained all of it but one section, and Mr. D, the guy that helps us over at Pecan Grove, keeping an eye on everything, he stained the last section for me so I wouldn't have to. And y'all, it's pecan stained.
Miracle Grow is made by Monsanto. Why would you use it? Look, you can't control where anything's made at. Miracle Grow is nothing but liquid nitrogen. It doesn't matter who makes it. If it benefits your plants and you can get more food from it, then I buy it. And I can't help it.
90% of the people have something made in China, made by Monsanto. Go check out everything in your cabinet,
go look in your house.
All your food.
Yeah.
Some of that food came from grown on Monsanto farms.
Yep.
Go look at everything in your house and throw out anything that says China, if you're against China. And guess what? You ain't gonna have nothing left in your house. Just gonna say.
Did the price of round bales go up significantly this year? Ours has not, because down here red clover hay is classified as trash hay. To us, it's the richest, it has more protein than any other hay, but yet farmers don't want it, and we usually buy all that they cut. So it's not sprayed or anything like that. And when we feed it to our animals, it puts the red clover back in our pastures, and it puts more nitrogen in our soil when it grows.
All right, talking about fish earlier. Now, some of y'all may have seen this on a post if you're on Patreon, but that is the first big bass that we've caught out of the back pond. Danny caught it last week, I believe. Did we put 40 in there, or did we put 80? How many we put in that pond?
Back here?
Yeah.
40 altogether.
40 bass, and in 2 years, I think 4 maybe have been caught out there. They're very elusive.
Danny, is it okay to use plastic stakes wrapped with copper wire? Yes, you can use plastic, you can use fiberglass, you can use wood, anything that's non-conductive.
Okay, I thought I would show them my
Hills Mill told me, Mr. Mickey said the price of copper has increased this week. Well, I guess maybe so many people started buying it for that. They said, well, we better get
jump up right quick.
Rebel Teacher says, I thought red clover was toxic. Have I been misled? Yes, you can use red clover to make teas for healing of your body.
No, it's very beneficial.
It's very beneficial to your body, your health, to the health of your soil, to the health of your animals. If you have cows that's making milk, it makes the milk real sweet. I mean, yeah, it is highly beneficial. You've been big time misled.
Now, we are talking about red crimson clover.
Yeah, well, there's no such thing as red crimson clover.
Well,
it's either red clover or white clover or
white
crimson clover.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
It is red.
Yeah.
And it's crimson.
Yeah, Arizona Online is actually right. Bayer's bought out Monsanto. Actually, it's no longer Monsanto. Bayer bought Monsanto out. That is correct.
Same creature.
Yeah, it's all still the same thing, though. Can you use 20-20-20 on your lawn? You can, but you have to be really careful, because that 20% nitrogen will burn spots in your lawn if you happen to get it too thick on your lawn. And I don't know why you'd want green grass growing in your yard anyway, but I mean, it's just
green grass.
Yeah, but it just means you got to mow that much more.
No.
I mean, I would rather my grass just barely live than I had to be thick and luscious. You know, I mean, I'd rather put the fertilizer in the garden.
Yeah, we don't really fertilize our grass. It grows fast enough here without any fertilizer on it whatsoever.
CC says, can I put copper wire on my T-posts? No, do not put them on your metal T-posts. Use wood, plastic, or fiberglass or something like that.
Some plants that you buy are addicted to Miracle Grow, might have to be weaned off, yes.
Yes, as a matter of fact, any plants you grow, let me say this, most people don't understand this. Any plant you buy that's already been potted from a store or anything has been sprayed with a growth retardant to keep them from growing, so that while in transit or while they're sitting on a shelf or anything in a store, they don't get tall and spindly. It stops their growth. Anytime I buy a plant like that, I bring it home, I hold the cup upside down in my fingers, and I take the top of it and I slosh it up and down in Miracle Grow for like 3 or 4 minutes to wash off as much of that growth retardant as I can before I ever plant it.
All right, now Mr. Mickey said, in his opinion, if you use a metal stake for the copper wire, to add magnets to the metal.
Yes, Mickey's correct. You have to add a magnet back to the metal in order to get the current flowing through the metal.
That's where some people miss on the metal parts, the differences in it. Tomato blight, should I spray with copper, prune, and remove the plant?
In order to...
Is there
a preventive measure? The preventive measure is to prune all the bottom leaves off your tomato plant up to about a foot high off the ground, and put some kind of ground cover down so that the soil doesn't splatter up on it when you're watering. And don't spray them with a water hose and splatter water all up on the plants. Usually once it starts, it's very difficult to get rid of it. Copper sulfate can slow it down, but the best thing is preventive. Up front, just go ahead and prune all them bottom leaves off to start with.
If you're using peanut hay for your cows, I have been using peanut hay for my cows this year. It is the trash hay as well. It seems to be doing good for them so far. Have you ever used peanut hay, or anyone that has used it?
I don't use peanut hay because it has so many toxic chemicals sprayed on it. Is one of the reasons I do not use it. Underneath the soil for peanuts, there's tons of chemicals that get injected into the soil. Chemicals are sprayed on top of the peanuts to keep critters from insects and all from eating them up. I do not use anything that I do not know anything about where it came from or whether it has been sprayed or not. Now, if you know somebody who's growing peanuts and they don't spray them and they don't put chemicals in the soil to keep the critters out of the peanuts and off the plants, that's fantastic because it's extremely high in protein. But from my experience and the people I know that raise them, they poison the fool out of them.
Yeah, and if you want to know about peanuts, if you grow your own and you feed those to your animals, it's wonderful. George Washington Carver, I think, did multiple experiments with peanuts and sweet potatoes, and the health benefits for animals, for humans. I remember as a kid reading about those experiments, and it was amazing. I just thought, you can take a peanut and do so much with it, the plants and the peanut itself.
Denise, it's the flower, not the whole plant of the clover. It's the flower off of the clover.
Danny, how to handle leaf curl on peach trees?
If you got leaf curl on peach trees, you just about have to spray a chemical on those trees to prevent that. I mean, once it gets started, it's very difficult to stop it.
They said they only buy organic peanuts and organic peanut butter. Okay, that's somebody else.
Okay, yeah.
All right. We've got a few Anna apples on a tree this year. So excited. That's Kayla.
Kayla, we've got, 3 or 4?
Maybe.
I think maybe the freeze killed all of our blooms. I think there's only like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to having some this time, but...
Jan says, does electroculture help seeds to germinate? Jan, that's one that's still up in the air a little bit. I know that magnetism has been tested a lot, and it does seem to make seeds germinate and grow really, really quick, fast. But as far as electroculture, Mickey might could answer that better than I could. I haven't read any information about that part yet that makes me believe that it's any faster. I do know that the magnetism part of using magnets, I have read stuff on that.
All right, Jesse Johnson said it's a perennial peanut hay. It is not used for the actual peanuts. It's a cover crop. Okay, so that's really good.
That's good as long as it's not sprayed.
And so, see, you need to ask these questions because he knows. He knew his hay. He knew what he was doing with this. If you don't just go buy hay. Not in this day and time, you don't just go buy it. And most things have been sprayed. So ask questions when you do.
Yeah, always ask questions. I don't care, like me, if we buy something from the grocery store and I don't know, like oatmeal. I mean, something as simple as oatmeal. I call the company and I drill them people. And the lady sitting behind the desk, if I don't think she's got any sense, I'll tell them, ma'am, give me talk to somebody who's got some sense, because I ain't talking to you. No disrespect, but let me talk to somebody who's got some sense. And I mean, I'm just that stern with it. And be careful about how you ask. Because if you ask for, does this product have monosodium glutamate in it? And they'll say, No, it does not have monosodium glutamate in it. It has natural this or natural that, and monosodium glutamate has 11 different names.
If you don't ask for that specific name.
If you don't ask for that specific name, they will tell you no.
Yeah, we found that out on lots of products. And you have to be very up on what it is for that.
Let's see. Mr. Mickey said he's only seen information with magnets for germination also. Yeah. That's the only thing that I've ever seen. Now, I have found some new information out about using a copper wire and magnet in the soil, and I will be experimenting with this, and I may do a video on it, but I've got to do it first before I see if I get a better germination and all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is going to be an interesting test I'm going to be doing in the near future.
Do you have a blueprint of your fishing pier?
No, I just build stuff off the top of my head. My
mind, blueprints.
I build whole houses without blueprints because my mind's like a computer. When I start looking at stuff, I automatically can see the whole project from the beginning to the end. I have a photographic memory, and I can see everything involved in it from beginning to end, and every board, everywhere everything goes, and I don't need blueprints usually.
All right. Milk and Honey Heritage Farm says, my sweet potatoes are finally creating slips. Yes.
Yeah.
What did you notice about the sweet potato slips?
Oh, I was going to mention this. This is no slight on anyone, okay? Please understand that when I say this. Because
it's just the way things
happen. And I will cover both sides of this when I talk about it. But we were looking at the sweet potato slips we got from Hall's Tool. We got like 5 or 6 different varieties we ordered from them. And plus we raised our own. We got 2 or 3 different varieties here of our own we raised. We put them all in the ground. Now my own personal ones have been in the ground a lot longer.
Over a month.
Been over a month. But now, just this week I planted more because I plant more about every 2 weeks of my own because it takes about 2 weeks for them to come back. But the ones from Hall's Tool are just sitting there. They're not really...
They're just like...
They're just like they were when I planted them. They're pretty and green, but they're just like they were when I planted them.
The stem and the
and a couple of little leaves on top. Mine have big old beautiful leaves on them, and I mean they're just luscious green. But mine have been in the ground for over a month, and they have not grown any bigger. So it's not the fact that the sweet potato slips I got from Hospital is not doing anything. It's the growing conditions.
Yeah, that's where he was going with this.
I'm going with this is the soil is still so cold that even mine that's been in the ground for a month is so pretty and green, they're not growing. They're just sitting there. They were pretty and
green when you put them in there, and they're still, like if there was 4 leaves on it, it's still sitting there with those 4 leaves.
Yeah.
It hasn't spread.
It hasn't started vining. It hasn't done nothing. I have dumped fertilizer to them. I mean, I've dumped everything. I mean,
we've been having several 40-something mornings.
We're still been in the 40s.
And at night it dips down. So up in the day it's 80. And things are trying to grow, and then at night it's 40-something. So that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And so if your stuff is doing like ours, don't feel bad because both Hall's Tools and Danny's is doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing.
So we're just waiting. They're pretty.
We just got to have some heat.
I don't think we've lost any of them.
No, we haven't lost anything.
Everything.
Now I will say this: the Musakis that we put over at Pecan Grove.
Now, I'm not sure he's saying that right now.
I may be saying that wrong, but please forgive me because I'm not Japanese. But even though I have Japanese in my family, I'm still not a Japanese. But those are actually looking better than the ones that we have over here. And it could just simply be the soil composition over there. I mean, it's a better soil at Pecan Grove than it is here. And that could be it.
Yeah, Prep for Eternity says he thought it was just his sweet potatoes. They look good, but not growing much.
Right.
No, they're just kind of like sitting there.
Well, they're shocked because there's a 30 to 50 degree temperature change between the mornings and during the heat of the day because it's been perfectly clear blue skies, no chemtrails, no nothing in the sky, just freaking blistering hot. And then at night, because of radiant cooling, because there's no cloud structure, it goes right back down to being cold, and the cell structure of the plants have a hard time adjusting to that, just like people. That's the reason people get sick when it's hot and cold and hot and cold. plants do the same thing.
Danny, my garlic leaves are turning brown nearly 2 months in. What's wrong?
You got them planted too late, sounds like. I'm just being honest. I mean, it sounds like it's too late to plant them. I mean, we plant our garlic in usually around November in the zone 8 so that we can harvest them now.
Okay, how tall should you let sweet corn get before you put nitrogen?
On my sweet corn, I put nitrogen to it when it's 8 inches tall and when it's knee high. I'll do it both times, heavy.
What are you putting on your sweet potatoes?
I use on my sweet potatoes, I use 8-24-24 because it's a root crop and it needs high phosphorus. You don't need a lot of nitrogen on sweet potatoes because you'll grow all vines and you won't grow no sweet potatoes. So you got to make sure you don't put a lot of nitrogen.
Yeah, that's what I just did to them, wasn't it?
Yep. Does the direction of magnets matter? Yes, a magnet has a north pole and a south pole on a magnet. You got to put them in the right direction when you use them.
All right, my yard is loaded with wild lettuce. Any tips on transplanting them before I mow? I would dig up pretty good around.
Make sure you don't
deep enough that you don't chop the roots.
The tap root is the main thing
because the leaves are real thin.
Yeah.
So they may break off on you as long as you don't break that center piece and the roots. The outer leaves could come off if you had to, if they die on you. I've got quite a few in my high tunnel that are growing. I haven't really transplanted any. I did 1 or 2 last year and they did pretty good. So I think you can do it. Just be very gentle with it.
Carlos says, where do you recommend buying sweet potato slips? We buy ours from Hoss Tool when we buy. Greg and them have, ours arrived in fantastic shape. I mean, I can't complain one bit in the world. They were really good looking slips when they got here. And as soon as you get them, take them out and put them in water.
Yeah.
Let them rehydrate.
A Little Southern Brothers says, what is my favorite tomato for juice and spaghetti sauce?
That'd be the Amish paste.
Amish paste for spaghetti sauce. A juice tomato could be just about anything. To me, it doesn't matter because...
you're just looking for flavor.
Yeah, you're just going to be adding tomatoes. But if you want a good sauce tomato, Amish paste, Romas, those are more meaty and less seeds in them.
Natasha says, my peppers are also pitiful. It's too cool right now for peppers. I'm going to tell you, if you don't have your peppers inside a controlled environment like a greenhouse or a high tunnel or a hoop house or something like that, and they're just out in the elements, it's still a little bit cool for peppers to really be kicking it. They're going to look pitiful. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah, I've got 3 outside over at Pecan Grove. And I put them out before that last freeze, so I've had to cover them, and they're doing fantastic over there. But we've got no bales yet, but it's blooming.
Yeah.
What is that?
Shishito.
I've taken 3 or 4 off, and they're just loaded. And the banana peppers, I took 2 off of those, and they're hanging with little bales. Little banana peppers.
They're hanging great. Let's see here.
It's really, I'm surprised because this is early for us to have peppers outside.
I didn't see who it was, but somebody asked, how much nitrogen do you put to your tomato plants? I only use calcium nitrate around my tomato plants. I don't use just pure nitrogen. I use the calcium nitrate, and I put 1 tablespoon per plant around the base of the plant in the soil. I cover it up because if you don't, the sun will suck all the nitrogen out of it within 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we at now? My eyes is getting tired and yawning. I'm yawning because...
What's the best canning tomatoes, Carlos says? The best canning tomatoes, in our opinion, is the celebrities. Celebrities do fantastic for canning. I mean...
makes a good salsa.
Yes.
Overall, if you want a good round tomato for just about anything, the celebrities do really, really good. And the tomatoes that's in my high tunnel are beefsteak.
Yeah.
And it may be because they're in a high tunnel, but the peel on them is so hard and so, I guess, just tough. I don't like that. I like a thin peeling on my tomatoes because I don't mind eating it.
Yeah.
But on these, you can't eat it. It's too tough. And it may be because it's been cold and because it's in a high tunnel.
Natalia says, has anyone noticed the activity of the northern lights, how active the northern lights are lately? Yes, that's because of the geomagnetic storms that's taking place at the North Pole because of what's going on with the sun and the outer space and all that. The magnetic fields of the earth are down, and these magnetic storms, we're getting these solar flares coming in from the sun, and they're really hitting the earth hard, which is shoving the northern lights way further south than they normally would, where they would go anyway.
Steve asked, can he make his own copper antennas? Yes.
Yes, you can make your own copper antennas.
Yes.
Yeah, just make sure you wind them in a clockwise.
Unless you're in the southern.
Unless you're in the southern hemisphere.
Most people are in the northern, and we forget we're talking worldwide sometimes. But if you're in the southern hemisphere, wind them counterclockwise.
Yeah. Lippy's having kids problem.
Uh-oh.
Yep, I understand that.
Do you think it will be overall cool year and maybe the northerners should build small greenhouses over their raised beds?
Conserved friends, the southern part of the United States is going to be blistering hot. The northern part of the United States, because we're in an El Nino, the jet stream is going to go further south. You're probably going to stay cooler than you normally would. Plus, the volcano that erupted in Russia here a month ago or several weeks ago has blown ash into the upper stratosphere, which is not going to allow things to warm up like they normally would in the northern part of the hemisphere up there. And yes, you probably would not be a bad idea to have it ready and to be able to cover stuff to keep it, at least keep the temperatures warm anyway.
What's the best direction to set a greenhouse in Zone 8?
If you're in, well, it depends on where you're at in the United States. And the southern United States and the Mississippi Gulf Coast where we live at, because of hurricanes, we go northeast to southwest. That gives us the best sun exposure. It gives us the north and south for our plants, for the electrocurrents flowing through the air. It also, when hurricanes come in, the northeast side of a hurricane is the worst. It also means that the hurricane's blowing against our high tunnels at an angle rather than directly straight against them.
Somebody had asked too while you're on that earlier, and I meant to ask about that. Do we do anything special if we know a hurricane's coming in? Now, building, Danny did a lot special in the building process, so you might explain that too. But the when the hurricane comes in, but talk about what you did to beef it up because we were in a hurricane.
I mean, I've built lots of greenhouses. I've built some for nurseries and different places, and I have designed end walls because hurricanes would tear them up. And not to say a hurricane won't tear mine up, but so far the end walls and all that I've designed on mine and the way I've designed my greenhouses.
It helps with the heavy winds.
The heavy winds, we've been through hurricanes up to 100 miles an hour.
With these two.
With these two back here, twice I know of, and we've had no damage to them whatsoever. So most of it has to do with the structure that you put on the end walls and the bracing that you put in them.
All right. Somebody asked about squash. Yes, we plant squash. I've already planted some over at Pecan Grove. We have little zucchinis, little spaghetti squash, little what was the round ones were zucchinis.
Yeah, the round zucchinis. I've never eaten a round zucchini, but we have them planted.
I planted round zucchinis, maybe from Hoss Tools. I can't remember. I think they were, but if not, they were from Survival Garden Seeds, because I planted from different companies this year. And so the round zucchinis, one plant has like 8 round zucchinis on it already. I'm just anxious to see what they do. And some of them are
hold on. Before you move this now, let's see here. Dog Mom says, where do you buy your 824-24? I can't find it in the stores. We just get it here at our local stores. I mean, it's a local for us. Linda says, does thermal mass factor not apply where your sweet potatoes are connected?
Concerned.
Concerned. Ours are deep in the ground. And yes, thermal mass always plays a factor, because if you can get the ground to warm up, it's great. But if you... we can't get our ground to warm up here because the nighttime temperatures won't warm up.
And we have a field of sweet potatoes.
We have fields.
So,
We don't have just a few plants. We got fields.
If you've got a little raised bed and you have some way to help heat it up, yeah, you probably could be ahead of. And if you have a greenhouse that you can close it all down and heat it on up.
Yeah.
But we leave our greenhouses open.
Gail, cannot find shade cloth anywhere here in Virginia where I live. We got some of ours from Lowe's, our smaller shade cloth. The other ones come from Growers Solutions. You can check with either one of them. I seen this go by a while ago. Onion seedlings fertilizer. Start your onions off with fish emulsion. When you first start them off, as your fertilizer. Your seedlings, once they start coming up, start putting the fish emulsion to them. And then once they get a little bit taller, you can use a little bit of calcium nitrate to them before you actually pull them up and put them in the soil. Or if you've already got them in the soil, then you can just go ahead and start using your calcium nitrate to them.
Has anyone used a Jane Market garden cedar? Was wondering if it was worth the money. The garden is 2 acres big. I don't know
I don't know what kind of cedar that is, to be honest with you.
Is it similar to the Hoss Tool cedars or what was the other one called? We have
Earthway.
Earthway, is it similar to that? Because both of those work. So if it's similar to those, it might. Yeah, Amazon has shade cloth.
Somebody's asking, let's see here, where did it go? I done lost it. Oh, why does winding direction matter for copper antennas? Because one way you wind it is made to, I hope Mickey will help me out on this one, but one way is made to receive, clockwise is made to transmit. I mean, it matters. One way you're receiving and one way you're transmitting.
Yeah, Mickey might explain that. So if you got it right or backwards, I'm not sure. Do you have any advice for a first-year gardener? Do not plant stuff you will not eat.
Yeah, don't plant what you ain't planning on eating. Don't do a lot of experimenting because you'll get heartbroken trying to do stuff. Plant the easy stuff. Start out with hybrids. Don't use heirlooms because heirlooms are hard to grow. Get you some hybrid seeds that are very resistant to all types of diseases so that you have good success rate so that you'll feel like you've actually accomplished something and not wasted your time.
And try like 4 or 5 plants.
Yeah.
Different varieties or something.
Plant easy growing stuff. I mean, don't plant the hard stuff. I mean, a lot of people go, oh, plant squash. Well, squash is great, but squash bugs and stink bugs, if you don't know how to control them, they'll kill your plants right off the bat. You know, some of your like cherry tomatoes are very prolific. They grow lots of tomatoes for salads and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I would probably grow a banana pepper, sweet banana if you don't like hot.
Green beans are usually very easy.
Green beans, yep, is another one.
Sweet potatoes are really, really easy. I mean,
unless you got a lot of area, I don't even worry with sweet potatoes
if
because
you've got containers or something that you can put 3 or 4 and try.
Because they're very low maintenance. Growing regular Irish potatoes is okay, but it's a little late unless you're in a northern part of the United States. But
and you could try a few Irish potatoes in a raised bed or a container, things like that.
Yeah. But yeah, people are putting up their prayer requests. Guys, Wanda and I, we have our dear friend of ours lost their 35-year-old daughter this past week. We spoke to a friend in town yesterday. We're supposed to do some video work for him. He just opened up a new bottling water company and found out that his wife has breast cancer and has done metastasized to her ovaries, and she only has like a 2% chance of anything even helping. They don't give her very long to live, and she's a very young woman. Prayers for them. I'm not going to mention his name, but God knows who he is.
Ashley
has ovarian cancer. A friend of ours who's been here several times. Y'all watch our chicken butchering video where I caught the chicken in the air with my hands.
Ashley's the one that let it go.
Ashley's the one that let it go, and Dean and Ashley, they lost a child in a drunk driving accident here a few years ago, and now she has ovarian cancer, and I don't know how her results is. She's going through chemotherapy right now, but
she seems to be.
She's in good spirits.
Yeah, she's doing okay. And then we've got BJ.
Yes, BJ. and his wife. BJ's been here before. BJ and I's done videos. Good Christian people. Let's see. Gosh, there's so many people that's everything has been happening here lately.
Yeah.
Gene, I have no clue if they were or were not. I do not know. I haven't asked. I don't feel like I should ask at a time like this.
This was a very special.
This was a special needs child.
Yes, and
I'll say child. She was 30-something years old.
She was 35, and just always had a smile on her face. She was always finding somebody to bless. She just wanted to be kind and loving.
She donated her time and services to other people at special needs places.
Yes.
I mean,
and she got along great. She helped out with Alzheimer's patients.
Yeah.
She always had a smile on her face. She was always sweet, and always had prayer requests because she paid attention to her friends and she wanted to pray for them all the time. She was a very sweet child. And then let's see what else we got.
Oh, prayers for chemtrail free skies, Darlene. I wish that would come to fruition. I pray all the time.
At Pecan Grove, though, we have a lot of blue skies. I guess maybe because we got more area and we look up more. I don't know. Here we've got a lot of trees, and we've got a lot of trees over there, but we got a lot of pasture land. And when you're out over that part of it, it's just like sometimes the blue sky is just so blue. And then you turn around and they chemtrail it. It is like, ah!
Oh, okay.
Let's see, what is your opinion on using whitewash inside a chicken coop?
Whitewash is fine. I mean, it's just a lime-based product. If you're using the old-fashioned, like, Huckleberry Finn used, you know what I mean, or Tom Sawyer, you know,
I think Abama's on here tonight, and she too is fighting cancer.
Yeah,
she's been having some issues. I think she sent me a message this past week or 2 weeks ago. I done lost track of time.
Dee's asking, how's Christopher?
Seems to be doing good. He's up and around.
He's a young boy. He's rambunctious, bouncing around like a rubber ball.
Doing his thing.
Yeah.
And I think they were supposed to go back. This week. His mom and dad is adding on to the house and stuff, so they're in the building process.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a trying week for a lot of people we know. You know, and it's just seems like we're getting closer toward the end of the age, and the devil's rampant right now, and we know that. So that's the reason I tell you guys, if you watch us on a regular basis, build your faith. And I'm including myself because, look, I have days where, I mean, I'm down and out lots of days. I mean, I'm not always an upbeat person. I have bad days just like anybody else has. And it gets to be a tough struggle sometimes. And even the scriptures tells us that the Lord said if I didn't shorten the days, that even the most elect would be fooled and drugged down. And there'd be none left if God didn't shorten the days, and that's how bad it's going to get. So,
Bama said she had a bit of a setback with her cancer, but she's hanging in there and praying. Good.
Amen. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Stay away from the sugar and just put in the good old stuff in your body. Sweet potatoes are great for cancer too.
How many cows can you have per acre of land?
Depends on the kind of cows you have. If you get the old big Brahmas and
how much
Herefords and stuff like that,
on your land,
it's usually 1 acre per cow. But if you've got the miniature Dexters like we've got and just regular Dexters, you can put 2 cows per acre if you got good grass on it. Okay.
The clue is good grass.
The clue is good grass. That's correct. Yeah, it's just having good nutritious.
If you've got an acre of land that's mainly dirt and sand, then you don't even have enough for a cow.
Brenda asks, how do you control squash bugs? We do it with Dr. Earth's Golden Bloom. And
plus we pick
them off. Plus we use fish emulsion. We make it stink so bad around the plants that nothing wants to be around them. Not even us sometimes. Anyway, guys, let's pray here. Father, we're thankful for the good day we've had here, Lord. I know we've had a lot of rain today, and yesterday we had rain, but Lord, you've been good, and you water the land when we see fit, and we know that people north of us they had some bad hail the last day or two and had a lot of damage. And Father, we pray for those people. And we pray for all people who's having damage from the hail and the wind and the flooding rains and stuff like that. Father, we ain't even into the summer part of the year yet, and we already have been told that it's going to be a year of storms down here. It's going to be just horrendous for the amount of bad storms we're going to have. And because of the heating of the oceans that's going on, and people's not talking about that, but the Gulf is already heated way hotter than it should be for this time of the year. And that's kind of concerning to us, especially when a low gets out there. But we know you're in control. And no matter what man tries to do, we know that you are the author of everything that goes on here on the face of this earth now. And Lord, there's so many people tonight. I've been looking in this chat here, Lord, so many people with cancer issues and going through treatments and all kinds of stuff, Lord. And Father, I've been down that road 6 years of doing that kind of stuff, and Father, my heart goes out for people having to deal with this kind of stuff, and Lord, I'm just praying that you can help them to get healing, Father. Please, in the name of Christ, I speak healing upon these people's bodies tonight. And Lord, for the families this week that we know that's lost loved ones, that's struggling to get by now that they have family that's not there any longer, Father, we pray for the peace that passes all understanding. Help them to know that their loved one is with you now, and they're at rest. They're at peace, and Father, they don't know what it is to hurt anymore. All they know is the glories of heaven right now, and they wouldn't come back if they could. And we have to understand that they belong to you before they belong to us. And Lord, it makes it a little bit easier to handle things like that when we look at it in a positive aspect now. And Lord, help us to let this year be the year of solutions for our problems and not the year of problems. And just let us acknowledge that you're still in control, and that the old devil knows he's not going to win, and yet he's going to fight and fight and fight. And the sad part about it is many of us are going to give in, especially when we feel like there's no hope. But Father, if we keep our eyes on you, all hope is in you now. And may we gauge everything according to the glories of heaven and not according to man. And may we keep our eyes upon you and not upon any man on the face of this earth now. Go with us, guide, direct us, and take care of us. Grant us the blessings of obedience now. We ask these things in thy name. Amen. Amen. All right. Now.
Tip.
Ooh, I ain't even thought about that.
Well, you better be thinking.
Woo, boy, today, oh, man.
All right, Joe Mama said prayers for Gay at Apron Strings. Her husband passed away unexpectedly. Okay, I think that's Apron Strings is a YouTube channel, right? I think I've heard of her before. I might have watched a video. I don't know. What you can do if y'all would go over and visit Apron Strings, I'll get it right in a minute. Visit and watch her videos. That does help her. Even if you can't do anything else except pray, and go watch those videos to help her out.
Yeah, it's trying times, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. It's really, really trying times.
She said yes, it is a YouTube channel. I thought it was. Yeah. So you got a tip.
I don't have one sitting here, baby. I'm just.
He's at a loss.
I'm at a loss right now.
You had all day to think.
My mind's been in other places today.
Oh. Lippy said yes. Okay.
Okay, that's great. Y'all, I think probably the best tip that I could give tonight, and this is from the bottom of my heart, is literally, we need to remember one another. Because
actually, that's what Patricia was saying too.
As we go into trying times like we're fixing to face, and guys, I don't share with most of y'all what I know. I mean, I may wear overalls around here, and I may look like a country hick, but that's because I choose that. I'm actually a very educated individual, and I don't go around trying to flaunt anything. I don't go around trying to try to be somebody I'm not. But my heart gets really, really heavy many, many times. And I think that a lot of times that's what is a lot of my issues is I get concerned over what people are going through, and I see and I'm no exception because I'm including me in this, is how we're going to face tomorrow, because none of us know what a day may bring forth. Like my friends, they didn't know their daughter was going to pass away unexpectedly that morning. The person that Joe Mama was talking about here, she didn't know her husband was just going to pass away unexpectedly. We don't know these things. And if we don't build up and hold up one another in these trying times, the world's not going to do it, because the world hates you. The world, because the scripture tells us if you can't be of the world and of God both, you either got to be for the Christ or you got to be for the world. You can't straddle the fence.
And if you are straddling the fence, it's time
It's
to
a
get
miserable
off the
time.
fence.
If you're straddling the fence, it's miserable because you're like a yo-yo. 1 minute you're down, 1 minute you're up. 1 minute you're down, 1 minute you're up. And you're constantly fighting what the world has to offer. And I laid in here on this couch today in the rain. I'm not going to lie to you. I laid in there while Wanda was gone to the funeral, and I was just praying to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, how do I come out of this system? I hate the system that we live under. I love my country, but I hate this digital system that we're fixing to go into, this beast system, if you want to call it that. All the new era that we're fixing to move into with AI has already took over. AI is already making AI now. And I'm sitting back, Lord, how do I get out of this? How? Please share with me. How do I come out from among her? And how do I be separate and yet still be able to function and be a part of the world that you put me in? I can be in the world, but I can't be of the world. How do I make this happen more than I'm already doing? And I've been pleading with God all day about that. And I think that's what we should do. I think we should lift up one another in these times because it is so short. If I could tell you how short it is, it'd probably scare the devil out of you. I mean, literally, if we could see where we're actually at in history as far as the second coming of Christ is concerned, I'll tell you, most of us would fall on our knees right now. And we wouldn't even get up and go to work tomorrow. But the fact that we get up...
Till we got it right.
Till we got it right. I'm telling you, we would make sure that everybody we knew come to know the Lord before we even left to do anything. And I just don't know how to say that we need to come out of this system anymore because things are becoming mandatory. I mean, I don't know what we're going to have to say or do to make this all come to fruition. I'm afraid that people like I was thinking about going on and getting my Social Security because I'm way past the age of getting it, and I still haven't got it yet. And everybody says, you need to go get it. It's your money. And I totally understand that. I paid in the 15.3% or 7%, whichever one it was, whenever I used to do payroll for myself. I've done that for 20 or 30 years. And yeah, I've got a lot paid in. But to put myself on that system means that I'm part of that system. And I don't want to depend on it. And I don't want them having any say over me. So I'm having trouble, and I'm afraid that people that are dependent upon that system, which technically was never meant to be dependent upon, the government's going to look at you at some point and they're going to say, you either comply or we cut your check out. And
you can't make it without it.
And you can't live without your finances. I don't know what...
And it's the same...
I don't know what people's going to do.
Even for people that work. Your job will say, like they did before, do this or lose your job.
You're terminated.
And you need your job because you need money to pay your bills, to buy groceries, to do things. And so that's where we're at. We're looking for answers on how much is too much to be involved in things, and what in all
So I
need to do.
I don't want, look, money doesn't mean anything to me. Y'all have to understand, the one thing about me, and you can ask Wanda, money means absolutely nothing to me. I have climbed that corporate ladder years ago. I've had money. It didn't make me any more of a different person than what I am now. Literally, I could care less.
And he's been very, very poor.
I've been poor a lot. I've lost everything I've owned in my life twice. I understand what it is to be poor. But money doesn't drive me. It doesn't make me who I am or anything. I could care less. But I also know that it takes it to survive.
Yeah.
And I'm not being ignorant about it. I know it takes it to survive. But the problem, the thing I'm putting out to the Lord is, Lord, when it comes down to the brass tacks, how do I say no and still survive and follow what you want me to do and not be a part of this new beast system that's coming into existence? Because I don't want my Social Security. I'll be honest with you. I don't want it if I've got to be a part of some system. It doesn't mean that much to me. Because I've already spent it. It's gone. I'll never see it. To me, it's like I never had it anyway.
Dottie says the system already knows about you. Just apply. Yeah, we get that.
We get that. We get the simple. But if you apply, then you have complied.
It means at some point, if that was all he had coming in.
Yes.
And they said, look, we'll cut the check. Because we know lots and lots of people that's all they have to live on. And then you have to do what they say. It's not that he's thought about just going and signing up.
I have thought about just going ahead and signing up and going ahead and saying, you know what, I don't.
But the problem really is,
what will they make me do?
Yeah. At what point are they going to say, you got to do this in order to get this? And that's where we're at with how far can you back out of some of this, and how much are you still, because we have a checking account, and in order to pay bills, most of them, they want you to pay them online. You got to have some money somewhere in a bank somewhere to pay a bill online. The days of going in, running to town and walking in this building and paying your bill and walking in that building and paying that bill is almost obsolete.
It's not about having.
You can't do it anymore.
It's not about having the money or not having the money.
Yeah.
It's about signing up with Uncle Sam.
And
putting my name on the dotted line and him having control over me more than what he already has.
Yeah,
because they'll look at me and go, okay, now you got to have a supplemental policy because we're taking out this for this, and I don't want to go have a supplemental policy. I don't want to play by their rules. I don't comply. I don't plan on complying, and I don't like playing by the rules that I don't like. So I'm not. I just, at this point, it's a no for me, but I don't know. Wanda and I are fighting this because both of us are of the age we can both draw, and it's just, at this point in our life, we're trying to come out of the system, not get into it.
Yeah, and so it is a struggle, not only for us, but for everybody all over the world.
Yeah.
It's going to be a struggle. How much... And when do you draw your line in the sand? I guess that's where you're going.
Yeah.
Is when do you say...
When do you draw a line in the sand and say,
okay,
enough is enough. Enough's enough. I'm not going beyond this.
Everybody needs their line in the sand.
Yeah.
Whether you're a Christian or not does not make a difference. You should have your line in the sand, what you will do and what you will not do. And when somebody pushes you to that line, you got to stand up no matter what the consequences is.
Yeah.
And you got to have faith that you can keep going, because faith is the only thing that's going to get you where you're going.
Yeah, I know it's my money. But you got to understand, I don't worship money. I don't care about money. Money means nothing to me, even though I know I have to have it to live. If I'm like the Apostle Paul said in the Scriptures, if I have little, I'm content. If I have much, I'm content. In whatsoever state I'm in, therewith I've learned to be content. And I think that's where most of us including myself, have problems, is we haven't learned what it means to be content with wherever the Lord puts us. Now, we can put ourselves in some positions through just stupidity, but when we're earnestly seeking to come out of a system and not be part of a worldly system and not part of a beast system that's going to lead to the you-know-what from the you-know-who, then I have to draw a line in the sand at some point and say, I will not go beyond this point. And if you don't draw that line in the sand, you will fall. And what we just went through in 2020, literally, I was blown away by what Christians done, you know.
All right, so we got to go.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I can get off on a tangent. I can just, I can go and go and go, but I know I have to stop, because if I don't, I'm gonna get in trouble. And
he's getting close to my line now.
Yeah, I'm getting close to Miss Wanda's line now. Miss Wanda has a line drawn in the sand for me, and I know when I'm getting close to that line, when I feel her hand go across my knee under the table here, I'm getting
shaking his leg.
I'm getting close to that line, and y'all see me sitting there shaking around like this. It's not because I'm losing my balance or anything. It's because Wanda's got me by the knee, shaking me.
Like, shut up.
She's like, shut up, Danny. Shut up. You know?
No, I'm just joking.
No, we're just having fun with that.
But no, you really do. Your tip, basically, where's your line in the sand?
Yeah.
You got to make a line, and you got to stick with it, whether it's your family, your friends, your job, your religion, whatever it is, where is your line? And you need lines on all this stuff. It's called boundaries.
Yes.
Danny tried to teach me that, because some things I don't have boundaries on.
Yeah, you got to have boundaries. You got to set a boundary.
There's some things I mean, when Danny and I married, I didn't have boundaries. You know, I thought I had boundaries. I thought I had a lot of boundaries. But there were certain aspects of my life that I couldn't tell people no. Yeah. And I had to learn how to say no, and it was difficult for somebody that ain't used to saying no.
Well, I mean, I myself set boundaries for myself, and I fail. And I have to use the Apostle Paul in the Scriptures many times. The Apostle Paul says, I don't do the things that I should do, and I do the things that I should not do. But it is not me, it is the flesh. In other words, it's the evilness of the flesh that's actually causing me to do the things that I do. And I fight that. I'm not going to lie to you. I fight it every day of my life.
And if anybody's honest with themselves, they do too. You constantly want to change who you are. Even though you don't realize it.
Yeah.
You're changing your hair. You're putting on makeup. Guys are dressing certain ways that they really don't like to dress, but they know they have to put up an image.
Yep.
Some people even talk a certain way just to impress somebody or whatever. You know, you change who you really are.
My theory is, if you got to change the way you look to work on a job, you got the wrong job. You know, I mean, that's just the way I look at it. I mean, that may not be...
And I'm not saying you don't need to dress nice. That's not
No, I'm not trying to say you don't need to dress nice. But what I'm saying is, I don't dress nice. I'll be honest with you. I wear overalls everywhere.
But what I'm saying is, don't dress to change who you are. Don't do things to change who you are. Be happy with who you are, and you'll find out life goes a lot better.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let me get out of here before I get in trouble. Ms. Wanda, can you turn this thing off so I can get out of here?
I might can.
Guys, we love you. We appreciate you.